Latisha Scott has been one of the most talked about women on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, and for good reason. From the very beginning of the show, fans noticed that she had a different personality than some of the other women on the cast. Latisha came in with this image of being a family-oriented woman who wanted to focus on her marriage, her kids, and creating a picture-perfect life. But the reality of being on reality TV is that every detail of your life eventually gets put under a microscope, and Latisha quickly became one of the most debated figures on the show. And trust me, you'll want to watch this video until the very end. Because the story of Latisha is one that just keeps unfolding in ways no one expected. When we first met Latisha, she was introduced as the wife of Marsau Scott. Together, they were supposed to represent Black excellence, entrepreneurship, and family success. Marsau was running his construction business, Schultz Industries. And Latisha was presented as a stay-at-home wife and mother who was supporting him in building their empire. At first glance, that sounds like a dream setup. The husband working to provide, the wife holding down the home, and the two of them working together as a team. But anyone who has been following their story knows that beneath that polished surface, things were never quite as smooth as they wanted fans to believe. And that's exactly why Latisha remains one of the most discussed women on the show. One of the biggest parts of Latisha's storyline has always been her marriage to Marsau. From the very beginning, there were whispers about infidelity, and fans have always had questions about whether Marsau has truly been faithful. Now, Latisha has always stood firm in saying that she doesn't believe her husband has cheated. But the audience and even some of her castmates have raised their eyebrows at the way she so strongly defends him. Think back to those early seasons when Martell Holt dropped hints about Marsau having inappropriate behavior. Martell would throw shade and suggest that Marsau wasn't as squeaky clean as he appeared. And while Martell himself was dealing with his own well-documented cheating scandal with Arione Curry, fans couldn't help but notice that he seemed to be hinting that Marsau was right there with him in questionable situations. Still, Latisha held her ground, insisting that her husband had never stepped out. This is where things get really interesting, because Latisha's loyalty to Marsau has become one of her defining traits. No matter what's said, no matter what rumors come up, she rides for her man every single time. And while some people see that as a sign of strength, others feel like it shows denial. But here's the thing. Latisha doesn't care what outsiders think. In her mind, her marriage is between her and Marsau. And she's made it clear on multiple occasions that she's not going to let gossip or castmate comments dictate how she feels about her husband. That kind of loyalty can be admirable, but it has also made her a target for critics who feel like she turns a blind eye to disrespect. And speaking of disrespect, let's not act like Marsau hasn't had his moments on the show where he's left viewers scratching their heads. There have been multiple scenes where Marsau has spoken to Latisha in ways that fans consider dismissive or even belittling. One infamous moment was back in season 1. When Marsau made that comment about Latisha's family being from the other side of the tracks, you could see how hurt Latisha was by those words, because she explained that this was something she had heard before and it was a sore spot for her. Instead of comforting her, Marsau kept pressing, and eventually she broke down in tears. He left the room without consoling her, and fans were left shocked at how cold that moment felt. Clips like that are why so many people feel like Latisha puts up with too much in her marriage. But here's where the story takes a twist. Latisha isn't just a woman sitting quietly in the background of her marriage. Over the years, she has found her voice more and more, and she's become outspoken, especially when it comes to defending herself and her family. And one of the biggest influences in her corner is her mother, Miss Wanda. Now, if you've watched Love and Marriage, Huntsville for even 5 minutes, you already know Miss Wanda is a character all on her own. She will hop on a live, say whatever comes to her mind, and she has no problem stepping into drama when it comes to defending her daughter. For better or worse, Miss Wanda has become a huge part of Latisha's storyline, because she is always ready to fight Latisha's battles. Whether it's going toe-to-toe with Melody Shari clapping back at Martell Holt, or speaking her mind about the other cast members. Miss Wanda does not hold back. And while some fans find her entertaining, others feel like she makes Latisha look weaker by constantly stepping in to speak for her. This dynamic between Latisha and Miss Wanda is fascinating, because you can tell that Latisha values her mother's opinion deeply. There have been times when Wanda has said things that stirred up more drama, but Latisha has always defended her mom. This creates tension between her and the other cast members, because they know that when you deal with Latisha, you're basically dealing with Wanda too. And let's be honest, nobody can out-talk Miss Wanda. Now, while a lot of the conversation about Latisha centers around her marriage and her mom, we can't forget that she is also a businesswoman in her own right. Latisha has shown over the years that she wants to step out of the shadow of being just Marsau's wife and create her own legacy. She went back to school, earned her degree, and even stepped into real estate. She has talked about wanting to show her kids the importance of education and hard work, and she's been vocal about not wanting to just be a housewife with no independence. This is a side of Latisha that fans often applaud because it shows her growth and her determination to prove herself outside of her marriage. But even in this journey, the critics never stop. Some viewers feel like Marsau doesn't always take her career aspirations seriously. And there have been scenes where he seemed dismissive about her wanting to balance motherhood with business. Those moments make fans rally around Latisha because they see a woman who is trying to find her voice while still juggling the expectations of being a wife and mom. It's a balancing act that many women can relate to. And it's part of why she has such a strong fan base, even with all the criticism that comes her way. Speaking of criticism, one thing that always comes up when talking about Latisha is her dynamic with Melody Shari. From day one, Melody and Latisha have had a complicated relationship. There were moments when they seemed like they could be friends, but for the most part, it's been tension and shade. Melody has not been shy about questioning Latisha's blind loyalty to Marsau, and she has called her out for allegedly ignoring signs of disrespect. Latisha, on the other hand, feels like Melody looks down on her and tries to act like she's better than everyone else. This back and forth has provided some of the juiciest moments on the show, because fans pick sides and the drama keeps escalating. Even to this day, it seems like their relationship will never truly recover because the hurt and insults have gone too far. And let's not forget Martell Holt. While most of his drama has centered on his ex-wife Melody and his longtime mistress, Ariane Curry, he has not held back from throwing shots at Latisha and Marsau as well. Martell has made multiple comments hinting that Marsau has cheated, and every time he does, it puts Latisha back in the spotlight as fans speculate about whether there's truth to it. Martell knows how to stir the pot, and even when he doesn't directly call out Latisha, his words leave enough room for fans to fill in the blanks. It's messy, but that's exactly why fans keep tuning in. Now here's the hook you don't want to miss, because as much as Latisha has tried to stay strong, the cracks in her marriage and friendships on the show continue to play out in ways that make fans question everything. The more she defends her marriage, the more people wonder if there's something she's hiding. The more she leans on her mom, the more fans ask if she's truly standing on her own. And every time she clashes with Melody, the fan base gets more divided. If you think you've seen everything from Latisha Scott, trust me, you haven't. There's always another twist waiting just around the corner. And you're going to want to stay until the very end of this video, because the journey of Latisha is still unfolding.